What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 12th Man FC. My name is Edwin. We had an amazing day in the Premier League today. Arsenal extend their lead at the top. Some pretty bad drama going on at Tottenham Hotspur. Liverpool getting their first win in the league after four consecutive losses, and United pull off a horrible bottle job for a big opportunity today. Let's get right into it. Arsenal getting the win against Burnley 2-0 away to Turf Moor. And, you would expect a very tough match. Turf Moor is a pretty tough place for any opponent to go to. Burnley, very well disciplined defensively. They give teams a very hard time. They were coming into this match with some pretty big momentum after two consecutive wins in the league as well. But Arsenal got the job done. They made it look very, very easy. Another set piece goal. Who would have thought? For their first one. That is now 8 Premier League goals from corners. That is the most by any team after the first 10 matches of the season. Arsenal extend their lead at the top to 7 points from Burnley, who have yet to play. They play Manchester City tomorrow morning in the league, so we'll see if City can get the job done there. But Arsenal on the run of a lifetime right now. 9 straight wins in all competitions. That is their longest win streak since 2018. And look, for all this talk about Arsenal and the form in which that they're getting their goals, mostly via from set piece, and it's got everyone's all up in arms and everything. The media as well, coming up with league tables if set piece goals didn't count, and people just criticizing Arsenal for all of their set piece goals, and then even scrutinizing them for long throw-ins when Arsenal isn't even the only team that's doing long throw-ins at all this year. Like, every team is doing long throw-ins now when they're in their attacking third. That's just the new way forward, I guess. So yeah, Arsenal are just getting completely battered by the media, and I don't understand where the hate is coming from. Especially when it comes to the set piece goals. Like, nobody really had a problem with it when Liverpool were scoring a lot of set piece goals in the season that they won their first league, 2019-2020. And look, I mean, what do you want Arsenal to do? They're playing absolutely amazing football. They're playing against teams that they don't really take the game to Arsenal. They don't feel like they have a chance, so they play in a very, very low block, which is really frustrating to watch for a team to try to break down another team that's playing with 11 players in front of the goal. As a City fan, like, I've seen that countless of times. I saw Arsenal do it 2 seasons ago against City, or was it last season? I don't really remember, but John Stones ended up getting the winner, I believe, or was it the equalizer? Probably was the equalizer. It was probably last season at some point in, like, the early stages of the season, where Arsenal just completely. It's very frustrating. So what can you expect Arsenal to do when all these teams that they go against just want to sit all their players in front of the goal and just hope for a draw, or to try to catch Arsenal out on a quick breakaway for like a 1-0 win or something like that. You know what I mean? So they're finding solutions via set piece goals. Like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But anyway, moving on. Spurs horror show today against Chelsea in the North London Derby, losing 1-0, and Tottenham were very, very lucky that it was just 1-0, because Chelsea could have gone 4-0 up to finish that game. They had so many chances. Sorry, we got like a police chase in the background. Chelsea had so many chances to put the game away, and they just couldn't finish anything. And it was a horror match to watch. I'm not gonna lie. Spurs played absolutely horrendous. Chelsea also looked very, very sloppy most of the time too. The one goal that they did get was very ugly in my opinion. So Chelsea also not really looking all that great, but Spurs created absolutely nothing. They created 0 chances to score whatsoever. I believe that their expected goals was 0.05. Do you know how horrible you have to be up top, or even in any type of like aspect of the game going forward, to have 0.05 expected goals? Like, that is just absolutely horrendous, and I'm pretty sure it was probably one of, if not the worst performance from Spurs this season so far, and the fans are completely starting to turn on Thomas Frank. And the drama that I alluded to earlier at the beginning of this video, Thomas Frank at the end of the match, he's walking onto the field trying to console his players, and he's approaching Spence and Mickey Van de Ven to just to try to talk to them, give him a handshake, something, and they completely snub him. They don't even look at Thomas Frank. They just could walk straight past him in anger. And Thomas Frank, you could see literally turning to give him a stare down, what are y'all doing? That is just absolutely ridiculous. I have never seen that. I have never seen that in my life of watching football. And yet, yes, of course, I've seen players snub their coaches when they're getting subbed off in a match, but to do that at the end of a match where there's supposed to be unison and everything like that, it begs the question on whether or not the players are starting to turn on Thomas Frank in the locker room, especially after 10 league matches too. It's very early on into the season. Spurs also sitting in fourth place, I believe. I have the table up here, but I can't see it right now. Spurs in fourth place right now. They're not in a bad position, but it's just the inconsistencies with all of their performances that really have you wondering what the future for Tottenham Hotspur is. Thomas Frank has a lot of work to do. Mickey Van de Ven doing that to his coach as one of the leaders of the team, the captain as well. That is just absolutely inexcusable. And I don't know what the way forward for Thomas Frank is in terms of dealing with that. Especially if he is losing his side, and it's a shame because Tottenham Hotspur have a good side of quality players. They got Xavi Simons, they got Kolo Muani, Mickey Van de Ven, who's an amazing defender as well. Spence, another one, big player for them too. They have pretty good quality in their side, and they just don't seem to be getting the job done. Mohamed Kudus is another one, probably the best player for them this season so far. Richarlison, another one. James Maddison, who's finding his way back into fitness and everything like that. I don't know what where they're gonna find the solutions from, but they're just playing very, very inconsistently, especially after a poor result in the Carabao Cup at midweek as well against Newcastle. I don't think that I never thought the Spurs were gonna be title contenders this season. I definitely knew going into the season that we're going to massively improve from last season. Last season was an anomaly for them, finishing in 17th? Yeah, 17th last season, winning the Europa League. I knew that they were gonna come into the season with a lot of improvements and finish much higher than they would. I do think that they'll qualify for the Europa League this season, but right now currently sitting in fourth, level on points with Chelsea, who did get the win today against them. Spurs just ahead on goal difference. But moving on now, Liverpool with a very, very much needed win against a very good Aston Villa side, who have been in great form so far this season after a pretty rough start. Liverpool, much needed win, like I said, after 4 consecutive league losses. 6? But coming into this one, just one win in 7 or something like that, I believe, after that Carabao Cup. Liverpool in horrendous form. They played an absolutely great match today. They fully deserved the win. Yes, they got very lucky with the goals, but in order to have luck, you have to force those opportunities on you. Emi Martinez with a horrendous giveaway that led to Mohamed Salah's goal. Salah now equaling Wayne Rooney for most goal contributions for a single club in the Premier League. I believe it's 276 goal contributions that Mohamed Salah has equaled. So that was good for him. He had a pretty good match today. I thought that it was much better than the Mohamed Salah that we've seen all season, who has been in pretty poor form so far. He got in good positions on the field. He put his teammates into good positions as well for dangerous chances, and then getting the goal that ultimately put Liverpool 1-0 up, and then a deflected second goal which Emi Martinez would have definitely saved had the shot not been deflected by who was it? Gravenberch. Yeah, Gravenberch, who got the second goal, and Gravenberch as well finally coming into the side after being out on injury. And that to me was definitely one of Liverpool's better performances this season, if not the best one. You can maybe count the win against Frankfurt in the Champions League as the best performance so far, but as a whole, like throughout the entirety of the match, that was 100% one of their best performances so far this season. Took a while for them to kind of get into it. I thought Aston Villa started the game out really, really well, pressing them pretty high. Going with getting out of Liverpool's press pretty well in the opening 15-20 minutes, and then once Liverpool kind of like found the rhythm and got into the game a bit, they started pressing pretty high and forcing a lot of errors in Aston Villa's defensive third. So as soon as Aston Villa conceded that first goal, I knew that they were going to be mentally out of the match, and you could see that throughout the rest of the game as well. They just weren't really having it. They weren't really up for it after conceding the first one, and then as soon as Liverpool go 2-0 up, then it was just game over. But like I said, Liverpool deserved win. They aren't fully back. They do have big matches ahead before the next international break. They got Real Madrid in this upcoming midweek in the Champions League. That's going to be a huge test for them. And then next weekend, facing City in what is going to be a very, very decisive match. I've said it in a few videos ago. I think the winner of that match is going to ultimately go on to challenge Arsenal for the title this season. So we'll see how that goes. Robertson as well coming back into the side, which I think is probably the best choice for Liverpool in their left back position. I don't think that Kirk has been performing all that well this season. I think in order for him to like fully find himself as a non-negotiable starter on the team, that's probably going to take about 2 years or so. With the season that Kirk has had last year at Bournemouth, his ceiling is extremely high, and it's just not really working out for him at Liverpool right now. I think Liverpool need results at the moment, and Kirk is a very young defender who, like I said, ceiling is very high, and I think it's going to take somewhere around 2 years in order for him to like fully develop into the player that we all know that he could be, and he's always going to be the first name on the team sheet in the left back position. Connor Bradley as well, another one who's just been performing absolutely amazing at right back, giving Frimpong something to work with, and Frimpong is going to have to definitely put in a lot of work to try to get into that side. And then that midfield with Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai is just the holy trinity for Liverpool right now. I think that's probably their best midfield. So then you kind of find yourself in a situation with Florian Wirtz, who kind of has to work to find himself into the first team, being a first name on that team sheet, within that midfielder, because in that midfield area, because Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllister, they just put in an absolute top class performance today, and I think that's probably the best midfield options. Anyway, moving on to the next match of the day, United 2-2 with Nottingham Forest, and United fumbled a massive opportunity to go second place by the end of the day today. And they weren't able to get the job done with Nottingham Forest. Like I said, 2-2. Poor performance as well. You could argue that if it weren't for Ahmad's absolute screamer of a goal late into the second half, United should have lost that match. And they would have lost that match if it weren't for Ahmad's absolute worldie of a strike. The thing with United too is that they're just completely inconsistent. They should have lost. They should have lost that match. Their first goal was also very controversial. Came from a Casemiro corner, but that corner should not have even stood to begin with. So even then, with their first goal, very questionable. They shouldn't have gotten it, and they were 1-0 up, and then 5 minutes into the second half, in a blink of an eye, they find themselves 2-1 down from 1-0 up, and you start to question what is up with the consistency there with Man United's side with Ruben Amorim, and then if you're also Kobe Mainoo and Mason Mount and even Xerxes, you're kind of thinking who were unused substitutes as well. Ruben Amorim, decided to go for 2 defensive changes in the second half. Those were the only substitutions that he made as well, just 2 defensive changes in the second half. If you're any of those young players, like I said, you're thinking, get me out of this team, bro. If you're not playing me in this match that we absolutely have a chance at winning, if we just start applying a little bit more pressure on the attack. And they're considering that their next match is a big one against Tottenham Hotspur next weekend. You're like, bro, if you're Kobe Mainu, you're thinking, how the hell am I going to get into this team when the coach isn't even playing me? We don't even have a match at midweek because they're not in Europe. They're not in the Carabao Cup anymore. Like, you're thinking, like, I need to get out of here. So another team that's just completely inconsistent, and I think they're consistently inconsistent. And I think with United fans, it's probably just like, three matches, without losing. That's some improvement. But now, after a performance like today, although yes, it was a draw, they got away with a draw because, like I said, they should have lost. So it's kind of like a back to reality type of situation with United. They currently find themselves having missing that opportunity to go second, and they moved down a place into 7th place. Sunderland have yet to play. They're going to play on Monday as the last game of the match week, but City could absolutely take the opportunity to now leap forward and go into 2nd place should they beat Bournemouth tomorrow, and that's going to be a huge match for City because they desperately need that win, especially after a poor performance against Aston Villa. See how we could respond then. We're coming off of a win in the Carabao Cup. At the midweek against Swansea, Omar Marmoush is back into the side. Ryan Cherokee is back into the side as well. They're going to offer a lot of attacking threat for the team, which is something that's desperately lacking right now at the club. So we'll see how everything turns out come the end of the match week. I will be back tomorrow after the Man City match against Bournemouth. So I'll see you guys then.